Hi, welcome to First Editing. I'm Joellen, and today we'll be talking about the differences between dependent and independent variables. So, variables are an important part of research in many scientific and medical fields. So, if you want to write a research paper or conduct an experiment, there's a high chance you might need to learn how variables work. So, what's their purpose? Well, the main goal of variables in research is to explore a correlation or potential causation between two independent things. Now, this can be anything from height or gender to temperature, cortisol levels, income, and more. Here's an example if you want to research how stress impacts memory. You're looking at two variables. You have stress on the one hand and memory on the other. And stress is the independent variable. This means that it's independent of other variables in the study. In other words, it is the cause. And memory is the dependent variable. It changes based on the independent variable. So if you're severely stressed, for example, your memory becomes impaired and it changes its value based on what happens to the other variable in the study. This means that the dependent variable is basically the effect. Independent variables are generally split into two categories. There are experimental variables, and they're sometimes called manipulated variables, and these can be directly manipulated by the researchers. So let's say you're measuring if music turned to 440 hertz has a different health effect on the body than music tuned to 432 hertz. The music is an experimental independent variable because it can be manipulated in order to see different results, which are the health effects. Then there are subject variables. They cannot be manipulated because they're fixed. And this includes variables like socioeconomic status or gender. And studies that look at subject independent variables generally research how this fixed phenomenon impacts the dependent variable. So, for example, you could look into how socioeconomic status impacts academic performance. When it comes to dependent variables, these can go by different names, such as outcome variables or response variables, and they're really important because they're basically the results of the study. And the dependent variable can also be a really good starting point for brainstorming research ideas. When you zero in on something you're interested in, like sleep quality or mental well-being, of students, let's say you can then ask yourself how these things could be impacted by other factors. How do you identify dependent and independent variables? Not all studies explicitly say the words, which means you have to be able to recognize them on your own. I'd say that generally the relationship between the different factors being measured should point you in the right direction. And if you want to identify an independent variable, you can ask yourself the following questions. Does this variable come before the other variables in the same way that cause comes before effect? Is the variable changed in any way in order to determine the changes in the second variable? And does the variable serve as a grouping mechanism to determine the second variable? And here's some questions to ask if you want to recognize a dependent variable. So, does this variable follow after the other variable? Is this variable considered the outcome of the study? And is this variable altered as a result of changes to another variable? So let's quickly go over some more examples to drive the point home, okay? If you're researching the impact of remote work on carbon emissions, remote work is an independent variable and carbon emissions are a dependent variable. And if you're measuring the effect of daylight on serotonin levels in humans, daylight is the independent variable and serotonin levels are a dependent variable. And if you want to know how long a nap should be in order to boost alertness, the length of the nap is an independent variable and alertness is a dependent variable. So let's go over 6 important tips to keep in mind. First, remember that variables are often referred to by different names, but no matter what the name is, the most important thing is the relationship between the variables. Secondly, a statistical relationship does not automatically equal a cause and effect relationship. Just because some things correlate does not mean that one causes the other. Sometimes there could be a hidden variable you're missing, or it could be a simple correlation rather than causation. Next, if you want to clearly visualize your variables, you can use graphs and charts. And the independent variable is usually on the x-axis and the dependent variable on the y-axis. Also, remember that the independent variable changes first and the dependent variable changes second. So what's more, a variable can never be both dependent and independent. It is one or the other. And finally, it is possible to include many different dependent variables. But remember that if you decide to do that, you might need to ask more research questions and expand the scope of your paper. For example, you could measure the impact of social media on mental well-being, sleep, and diet, which will help you research social media more in depth, but it would also be more work. And that's everything for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comment section below. Drop us an email. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.